Hello there and welcome to the Start Your Own Business show. So my name's Sam Acton of Domestic Angels, and I promised many of you this week that I would answer your most popular questions the best I can in a recording so that you can hear and see me answer those questions that you find of great interest, or particular interest, and of course you're all so different. You're coming from different angles for different reasons, so I'll try and encapsulate what I can. So one of your biggest questions is, where does Domestic Angels originate from? So, why would you get involved? What's the story? So the story is back in 2002, I walked away from corporate life because I had a young family, and working in Southampton and the Isle of Man just didn't stack up for the nursery run, really. And I just didn't want to do that any longer. It wasn't a lifestyle choice that I set out for or I wanted in any way, shape or form. So I walked away, had no idea what I was going to do, and I was talking to a friend one evening who said, why don't you help find me some help in the home, so a cleaner, because I'm really busy with my business and I've got 3 children, a big house and all those kinds of things. I said, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And I put an advert in the local newspaper on the 11th of April 2002 for our first angel, who called at 11:10. I remember it very, very vividly indeed. It's one of those landmark moments in life. So I grew the business very slowly from there. I thought about everything I was doing because I didn't write down a plan. Some people like to write a plan. I like to learn and evolve and progress as I go along. And I learned loads. I learned lots about customer service. I learned about recruitment. I learned how to be an employer. I learned how to increase the business with marketing. I learned how to deal with customer complaints. And I suppose some of the biggest things I learned was the fact that we're in the business of humans. Yeah, it's not so much about cleaning, it's about relationships and humans, and this was a really big deal for me. And the family was still young, and that was really important to me, so I really took my time, and the business just slowly grew and grew and grew, so that by the time we got to 2013, we won the National Home-Based Business of the Year award. And at that point I realized I really did have some sort of sizable business going on there, and took on board the fact that I needed to do something with it, something that everybody else could enjoy and I could continue to enjoy. Because one of the lovely things about owning a business, being a business leader, as hopefully some of you are going to find out, is being able to evolve your business so that you evolve yourself. And then that way nothing becomes stale. You're taking things forward all of the time, and I really enjoy that. So we hooked up with a mentor who looked into the business very closely, into figures and facts that perhaps I didn't have a great education around or understanding, and I learned from the mentor. And the mentor by 2015 recommended that we franchise the business, because if you imagine the business grown like this. Okay, I know I've told this story before, but it's just a different way. Okay, it's like this, and I'm sat at the top with a great big business with all these customers. My connection from here to there has been diluted, and so what I talked about before about it being humans and relationships have become, or starting to get diluted, and I didn't want that, because that would take away what is so valuable about Domestic Angels. So the mentor suggested that we change the way we grew by multiplying, by franchising the business model. Now, initially, I wasn't too keen on this idea, and I needed to understand it more, and he helped me through that. The MBA cohort at Bournemouth University then stepped in and took us on as a live client and analysed everything about Domestic Angels, about the intellectual property, the processes, the systems, the money, the marketing, me, everything, to analyse how we should franchise the business, so turn it into a franchise, because you have this one sort of business and then you turn it into lots of different types of businesses, and to do that you replicate it, and you replicate the processes. So the processes have to be really, really strong, so that whoever picks them up, maybe some of you, can follow them exactly rather than just generally, in order to get the right business formula, so you can replicate the same success as I was enjoying. That's how it works. And the students did an amazing job and gave incredible feedback. They waved lots of green flags, which meant it was a good idea for us to go forward. And they gave us a few red and yellow flags, and we dealt with those during the transition process, changing the model from this to that. Okay, so then we spent I don't know, 18 months, I suppose, converting the business model. So the business model still existed in the same format, but we just needed to make it usable for people like yourself. So we built our own software. Yes, we did. We built our own software so that it works just in the same way for people like yourself and for our existing franchisees who are proving that that works. And also that, you know, the way that we recruit, that the adverts are there and they're generic and available for you. The way that we train people reflects where we're coming from. And then we got underway. So we've been a slow growth because we've done it all in-house rather than having somebody from the outside coming in who may not understand entirely our character and our ethos that's so special and important within Domestic Angels. And anyway, it was fun. It was part of the evolution. It was a new challenge for me to take myself forward, as mentioned before. So then we had, before lockdown, our first 5 franchisees on board. And the number 5 came on just before lockdown, and obviously we stopped at that point because we didn't want to have new franchisees on board who couldn't genuinely get underway. Now, we've had loads of trade in the last year, because we all forget now it's September 2021. We actually have been trading more or less reasonably for a year now. Yes, the 2 lockdowns in the autumn and in the early part of this year impacted us, mostly because everybody was having to work from home as well as go to, sort of work from home as well as homeschool. And this was a really big deal, but we got through. We were absolutely fine. And now the franchisees, the businesses, so the franchisees are running the businesses now, not me. They do that. I'm the franchisor, so I have a different role these days. The franchisees are doing incredibly well, including our number 5 who came on board last, Claire. So I'm particularly proud of where we're at. And today they're actually all together at a hotel on a training session around management of staff and how we can support them and help them to evolve as well, so they keep moving forward. So yeah, that's the story of where Domestic Angels comes from. So I just touched on training. One of the big questions that does come along is, what training is there for me as a potential new franchisee? And it really is an excellent question, because we don't all arrive ready to be franchisees. We arrive being absolutely fantastic, as I'm sure many of you are. You invest into a business in a box. That's Domestic Angels, which has got all the processes in and the guidelines, but it also allows for you to be the person you need to be. But we can talk about that individually, one-on-one, when the time comes. So training, we're going to help you with lots of different things, including how to follow the Domestic Angels recruitment process and recruiting your staff and employing your staff and managing your staff. Yes, you're going to be an employer. This is a franchise where you work on the business, not in the business. So your role is to make sure everybody is happy, everybody's going to work, that the customers are happy, that you're doing the marketing and everything is highly organized. We can talk about that maybe in a little bit as well, because it is a popular question. What will I be doing as a franchisee? Let's finish the training question first though, otherwise I shall be totally lost. So that's bringing on your angels. Second bit that we're going to go through is customers. So how to onboard your customers, how to manage your customers, how you're going to take those forward. Then we're going to train you on our software, our in-house software that we developed. It's called Halo. It's a smart diary where you've onboarded your staff, you've onboarded your clients, and you make a diary booking, because you book in, say, Mrs. Jones for 12 o'clock on Monday with Angel Kate. And it's a smart diary. You do that in there. That automatically pushes into our centralized bookkeeping service. We do the bookkeeping for you. Yes, we provide that service, because we want you to concentrate on your role. And we push the invoices out and we collect the money centrally and do the dispersals. Make business simple. No point in you investing in a franchise or investing in a business and having to do the entire 360 of the work. We're here to take that load off, make this possible for you to concentrate on what you're good at. So we've covered off staff, we've covered off customers, we've talked about you're going to be trained on the software. We're going to give you some marketing training so that you can find those lovely customers in the first place. We're going to give you lots of training on how to manage your staff, because that's really important. The culture that you establish in your team is key to your success, key to you working on the business, not in it, and to grow your team and grow the natural team leaders within the bunch that you bring on board. I think that's probably generically it. Obviously, we're going to go through the processes with you about the money systems that I've just briefly covered, and also how we're going to communicate. So once you've done your training modules, and you're going to do some online things as well for manual handling and cost, that kind of stuff that your staff will have to do. So you should do it too, so that you know what your staff are doing. We're going to put you on a 90-day development program. So this is all part of your launch and establishment. Now, in your 90-day launch and establishment program, we're going to be there nearly holding your hands to get you underway. So we want to know that you're making an effort every day, because business doesn't just happen on its own. You do need to put some energy in, but you buy your business in a box, and all you do is just add you, and away you go. And when you say add you, that's adding your personality and your energy and your desire to do really, really well. So we're going to be making sure that you're sticking to the plan and achieving the targets that we've all agreed up front. Everybody's targets are all a little bit different, because it's to do with what you need and what your lifestyle and your family allow, for example, your personal commitments. So we want to make sure you're on track to hit those targets, that you're getting the customers on board, that you're finding your staff, that you're not breaking your heart. And yes, it will be painful at times. Business is painful at times, but that's why you're talking to us, and you invest in a franchise so that you've got us to be there with you during those times. We understand. We've been there and done that. We know how it feels. So you're never alone. And then hopefully by the end of that 90 days, you will be more or less up and running, if not flying. And then we'll just start to speak just a little bit less, because you won't need us quite so much anymore. In fact, for some franchisees, it happens at an earlier date, and that's fine. We work with you. We're about humans. We're about relationships. We understand that. So that's about the training. Now, I said I was going to talk about something else, and I've forgotten what it was. Yeah, well, there we go. So I should have written it down, really, because I've got nobody here to remind me, have I? Okay, other popular questions is about doing the marketing and the social media. How does that all happen and set up? Well, when you get underway with us, we set up your social media platforms for you. So we create your Facebook page, your Instagram page, that kind of thing, and just do a little bit of pre-population so that it fits with our criteria. We're going to make sure that you are comfortable with how to use each of those platforms, and then we will make sure that you're comfortable with how to communicate in the same way as domestic angels. You should be able to do the marketing in your territory. You should be able to speak to your audience. We're not going to do that centrally for you. Now, having said that, what we do encourage you to do is steal with pride from the other franchisees, because some franchisees are super brilliant at social media, and they don't mind at all if you take a look at their page and think, do you know what, that's a great post, I'm going to use that one on mine. That is absolutely fine. Everybody's doing it. We all help each other. We're part of a wider family. Another franchise success is everybody's success, because we are breeding success amongst us. And you know, it is all about how we make people feel, not what we do, how we make people feel. So being able to share best practice is really, really important. And nobody minds at all if you want to phone and have a chat about your marketing or your recruitment or whatever's going on. So the platforms all get set up for you. We'll create the web page for you, your website, and put all your details on. So that's all done for you, and then you sit back and enjoy running your business. So okay, what's your role? That was the question I was going to answer. Thank goodness for that, I remembered it. Okay, so the question is, what's your role as a franchisee? What's your biggest role? Okay, your biggest role is about excuse me, customer communications. And I don't just mean people who are paying clients. Well, excuse me, I mean anybody who receives a communication from you, and that can be your staff, it could be me, it could be the general public. Why is it we get a tickle in our throat on the days we don't bring a glass of water to the table? How? It could be anybody who's receiving any sort of communication from you, or be it by Zoom, face to face, by email, or through social media, through your network, whatever it is. It's your biggest role, because you're generating and creating and spreading the ethos, the magic that is Domestic Angels. And that will help you to launch and grow your business in a really, really healthy way. So the people you're predominantly going to be communicating with are people who want to become your clients, of course. So talking to them, you want them to be happy clients, and also your staff, because you need happy staff as well, because that makes your life so much easier, and taking care of them. So, you know, they will have questions. There'll be people who are poorly. Clients will be poorly, staff will be poorly. Being able to support these people during that time and know how to deal with that communication when it comes in, and the best way to take it forward, is absolutely vital to your success. So a lot of this is about understanding humans, being able to communicate, but it's also about being able to organize, because you're going to be organizing them. You're going to be organizing the weekly workload. And when you get those calls in that little Johnny's sick, please don't come round, it's probably not safe for your staff, or little Johnny's sick, I can't come in until he goes back to school, you need to be able to organise that schedule to everybody's advantage. And we'll talk through that with you. But if you know yourself as being a very strong communicator with excellent customer service skills and a strong organizer, then a Domestic Angels franchise is probably going to be right up your street, and you're going to enjoy it. Now, in terms of how many hours a week you might work, okay, a lot of that is up to you, but obviously we're not happy to have failing franchisees around. That's no good for us. So you do have to put in some effort, okay? Let's not beat about the bush. You have to put in some effort, but we're not talking 40 hours a week. On average, you should be hitting somewhere like 20 hours a week, but that's on average. For people who are particularly smart and sharp at communications and organisation, that's probably 15 hours a week. And if you're also disciplined at working on the business instead of working in the business, it definitely will be around about 15 hours a week. Okay, so that gives you an idea about what it is. Yes, it is a part-time franchise. That's the idea. I know my franchisees quite often work more than those hours because they want more, and that's absolutely fine. I'm happy with that, so long as they're feeling good about it and their families are happy, because you come to Domestic Angels for a reason. I told you the story about Domestic Angels, how it originated. It was about my priorities in life, about being a mum, about the family. And I genuinely expect all my franchisees to have similar priorities of some description. It is a home-based business. You can see I'm sat in my office. It's actually a cabin in the garden, and that suits me fine. I wanted it out of the house. You might have a small room in the house or an area where you can set up a laptop. That's your choice. You can do it as you wish. But the lovely thing is you are working from home, so you're able to have the flexibility that maybe an awful lot of you have enjoyed in the last 18 months, where you can work and you can get other things done at the same time, and it just makes life so much easier in the long run. So yes, I think summing up, what does a franchisee do? Strong customer service skills, strong organizational skills, put the two together. That's the magic formula. What else makes a great franchisee is often another question. Again, I would absolutely say the strong customer service skills, strong communication skills, and strong organizational skills are definitely the way to go. And a willingness, a wish to have your own successful home-based business, one that will see you through a few years. I think I'm going to finish off with the money question that gets asked, which is, how much do you invest in a Domestic Angels franchise? Okay, so look, this is really important that you listen very, very carefully at this point. So the total investment of a Domestic Angels franchise can be up to £16,000, but it might start out at as small as £4,000. What it is we do is we assess every case on its merit. Now, if you're a really, really strong candidate and you really, really want this, you really want to get your Domestic Angels franchise off the ground, and you genuinely do not have the full amount for your own territory, we still want to speak to you. We still want to have a chat with you about how we can overcome that barrier. You know, business succeeds because it's flexible, it's imaginative, it's entrepreneurial, it can see potential, it can see where it can make a difference. That's what Domestic Angels is all about in particular. So if you fall into that category and you would like to apply for one of our bursaries in order to help you get your business off the ground, then talk to us. So a bursary is where we are able to award a grant, if you like, and an amount of money that reduces the full amount. We also have the options to create payment arrangements so that the lump sum isn't all up front. Okay, now, don't get scared at that point. Think about this. You invest in your Domestic Angels franchise, your business, you get it off the ground, and you're making a profit. That's your income. Okay, you should be aiming to take home at least £2,500 a month once you're up and running and going. Okay, it takes a little while to get the momentum going, and depending on how fast and how much energy you put into it, that will happen sooner rather than later. But don't forget, that's down to you. And then when you finish the term and they're done, you sign for 5 years at a time, you can sell your business at that point for more than you invested, because you'll have a profitable going concern. Yeah, okay. So not only will have you been earning that profit all the way along, you can sell your business and get your investment back at the end. Win-win? I think so. Anyway, there's an awful lot more details to it, and you're all individuals with all very different circumstances. I understand that. We understand that at Domestic Angels. We'd rather meet the right people and get the right connection than anything else. That's our big importance thing. So if you are looking for a great business that's going to put you on your feet and give you every opportunity to become a business leader and really enjoy it, Domestic Angels is right up your street. Take a look at it a bit more closely. Now, if you've got any more questions around Domestic Angels, because I'm going to bring this to a close soon, going to wrap it up, please send them in to me on the usual email address. It's sam@domestic-angels.com, or you can text them to me. You all have my mobile number somewhere. But send them in or put them on the social media, or, you know, the links are on the website, and let me answer your questions, or make contact and we can have a one-to-one and I'll answer even more of your questions. Don't get, there's no obligation, just ask me your questions. I actually want to know your questions for two reasons. One, so you've got the answers, but two, I want to know what you're interested in particular. I learned so much from that. Okay, so I'm going to bring the show to a close now. Thanks ever so much for watching. Thank you for those of you who sent in questions, so I knew generically what to talk about and what to answer. And I hope that has been informative and of help to all of you. And I'll look forward to chatting again next week. I think we're doing 12 o'clock next Tuesday. Not sure. I will get the link out to everybody. Thanks again, everybody.